Hi, Tea Society. Welcome back to the Antisocial Planet. Today we're checking out Bleach, episode 251. Last episode was one of my favorites so far in this arc, so I'm excited going into this one. I'm hoping that we get to see some of the ramp up of all the action and like lore that's been happening. Interested to see what the dynamic is gonna be, right? It's been like a long time since we've seen Soul Reaper. We still have like captains en route. There's lots of things that we still need to tie up with this storyline, so I'm excited to see where we go with it. In 3, 2, 1, go. We've got a few things we still need to, you know, deal with this whole rebellion thing. We're still gonna get some Zanpakuto back in commission. You really found out what happened with the ones that were like, we were tricked because we haven't like looped back. Also, wasn't Kenpachi like in the middle of a fight? I mean, what is he not? But like a specific fight that was connected to this particular storyline. Not that I don't expect my shonen to be like, let's completely forget about a storyline so we can focus on something else for a while. I'm used to it, but it does it does make me go like, oh yeah. Maybe that's why I don't keep track of all of it all the time, because I'm like, we might not even loop back properly. We might just like see him later and he's like, yeah, I won that fight. You know what I mean? Like, we might not even check in again. Also, I've been reviewing and trying to actually learn kanji recently. And boy, does it make my head hurt. But I am recognizing some of it, so that's nice. I'm like, I know what some of this says. Because it does make my brain go all over the place, because I'm just like, oh. There's too many alphabets, you know? Too many writing systems with Japanese. Right, we ended with the stabbing, but like, who in Bleach hasn't been impaled at some point in their career, right? If I had a dime for every time Ichigo got impaled, I could pay rent. He does not seem happy in general. He didn't seem happy the last time we checked in the flashback either, though. To be fair. You just walk that off, it's fine. Also, is it kind of to ensure that he's under control again? Because that's how we got our Zanpakuto back, right? Is that we fought them. Getting flashback again. These are the same guys from before. Yeah, I feel like the reputation is going to be a big part of it. For like Koga as a character, right? Like he seems to want a reputation. Or like he wants like the recognition for what he's done. And they like specifically targeted that by framing him. Uh-oh, ominous music playing. I feel like if I heard something, I wouldn't crawl towards the noise. I feel like there's one thing I would be like wanting to be prepared for. I don't know, man. He's already been framed as like a murderer, so and a traitor, so it's not like he's got to be worried about his reputation at this point. But I mean, I feel like he just kind of proved it. But also that strong sense of justice that he has. So like he's probably like, it makes sense. Yeah. So this is the rebellion part. Yeah, we had some references to her. Really living the high life after all this. But like then you prove them right because you did kill a bunch of people that are technically on your side, even if you were like they were bad people. Oh, I was gonna say, I guess you don't have to like physically walk after him because you're the sword. Face off. I'm assuming because in his brain it was just. They were the enemy, right? That facial expression though seems very much like a like the fact that like that's the thing that bothers him. Like you killed people, and the thing that is upsetting you is that they betrayed you. Which like I get different morals in this world, right? And like his whole job has been to be like going after rebels. But yeah, you've just proven that you're exactly what they thought you were. From your perspective. But you've made them more scared of him, right? Like their whole fear before was that like he would be too powerful, and now he's like killed a bunch of higher ups. Yep. You didn't put them on like trial or anything. Yeah. Yeah. There's only so much you can do to save them, right? It's probably gonna feel like a betrayal too, though. Right? To be like, you're not going to protect me, you're not siding with me. I'm assuming that's where we're getting all the flashbacks of like times when he's disagreed with Koga. There goes the reputation. Yep. Called it. I think he has recognized your true potential, and he has found you lacking. Which is probably where the anger is coming from. Nice. I do think it's so interesting to see the face-off of, like, stoic control versus kind of a tantrum. Obviously more deadly. I'm gonna assume this is part of why Byakuya, though, right? Like, with all the backstory we're getting, I'm gonna assume that's why Byakuya seems to have known a little bit what was going on. And I'm assuming there's a plan. Interesting he's still, like, wearing the outfit, though, of, like, Soul Society. Obviously, it's, like, ripped. It's, like, different, like, stylized. But he isn't, like, free from it completely. Preferred that they feared you than laughed at you? And he still has the, like, remnants of the, you know, trying to make him not speak anymore, right? Hmm. Is it? You seem to enjoy it. Yeah, we are not moving on. Because you keep killing them. I'm assuming that's why they hate you. He's not listening anymore. To Muramasa. Who's like a reflection of his heart, right? Yeah, I think he might be a little bit out there now. Oh, can we not hear him anymore? I thought that was an artistic choice, but maybe it's like cutting off the connection with his Zanpakuto. So why there might have been a little bit of, you know, that your Soul Reapers don't really care about you from Muramasa, right? Ooh. But that's gonna be seen as a betrayal, right? If he doesn't show up. Or he's not, like, completely loyal. Without question, right? Is that how come the stabbing? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You did some of that. You seem to do okay. Stoicism. Yeah, I was gonna say. Big man in charge. It's just you. Whew. See, that's not survival anymore. And fear. He'd rather they fear him than laugh at him. Yeah. And yet, you can't do it without his power. He's also, like, part of you. It's almost sad for like Muramasa. You know, because like he, he like can't exist without a Soul Reaper, but also he like understands Koga like inherently, and he could see the deterioration, right? From this like righteousness to like vengeance, right? I don't know, man. You're slumming it a bit. Well, no, that's fair enough. People in power create their own idea of ideals. The fact that we're fighting in the rain too. Yes. Symbolism. Especially in a Bleach setting, right? Is it cowardly or is he just using strategy? Because it isn't personal. But he doesn't like the indifference, right? Like this idea of like, right? Them not reacting to him is like worse, right? We saw that before. He was like, I thought you would be proud. Like, don't you want to acknowledge that I've been like promoted? And then to get no reaction is like also a defense against his ability. I don't know if he'll show up. He's lowly and you don't need him. Is this the seal? Look, I know like the plot is that he still has to be around in order for the plot, right? But I'm like, why didn't we just... Not that I'm like pro let's off people, but like I feel like y'all coulda, right? Uh-oh. It's crazy that they like barely fought him. Because like his Zanpakuto didn't show up and he was just like, I can't do anything now. Ooh, the slight animation in the eyes, because it is personal, right? He's making it not personal, but like it is. Mm. And that's how come the stabbing. Because we got a different betrayal now. And the like rebellion energy again. Yeah. He's had a lot of time to be upset about that. quite a face, my guy. I love how quiet it is too, like the gravity of that moment. No, but he couldn't hear. Oh, what a good setup. I just got some chills there. Because he was like, oh, I can't hear you when they were together in the like inner world. And then when he called for him, he's just like, I couldn't hear. It's not that he didn't show up, it's that he couldn't. Because there's that disconnect between them. We're gonna find out how he ended up being able to exist. I mean, I guess like he was able to walk around and whatever, but what was all the stuff with the hollows? Am I gonna get answers? I don't know. I know it was to like take their, you know, power or whatever to sustain himself because he didn't have the Soul Reaper to access that from, but still. No. And that goes to all the powers, or the like rebellion before, right? With all the other Zanpakuto. Is it he? I feel like we're gonna recognize who Byakuya is. Hopes he's associated with, given the hair. Which is gonna add a whole other layer to it. All right, I'm seeing the pieces. I'm seeing the pieces now of both, like I was saying, the way that the different like Zanpakuto like rebelled, right? Was this idea of like, oh, your Soul Reapers don't actually care about you, you're just a tool. They don't actually like see it as a partnership, right? That was a lot of, you know, what Muramasa was kind of bringing into that illusion, right? Given the past. But it's also really fascinating to see that like deterioration of like ideals, right? Even like talk about ideals in the dialogue to kind of like vengeance and anger, right? And we saw some of that like very emotional driven decision making before. And then we get, you know, this very like stoic contrast, right? And like how that is a way of avoiding Munamasa's like abilities and stuff. But to see that kind of very emotion driven like passion, right? Of like justice and ideals and doing what's right being warped into like, I also feel very strongly about being wronged, and then that shifting into something that is more anger and like vengeance based is really interesting to watch. I always like a good character moment. There's a lot going on. Maybe a little bit. Byakuya's got a bit of a dry delivery, so it's hard to tell sometimes. The hair? I was thinking the same thing. Ooh, they're like, Gotta go. Really love getting a flashback, like I said. Any kind of character-centric moment where I can understand how a character works better, I'm always really excited about those, just because, I don't know, I like it. It's one of my favorites. I know that it's not like the action-heavy stuff, but I feel like we had some of that in this too, seeing the way that Koga, like, deteriorated from this person who had so much potential and came from this place of like justice, and having that warped because he felt like he had been, an injustice had been dealt to him, and was thinking that he was in the right. We had the previous episode where he was like, by any means necessary, and that was something I was like, ooh, don't love that feeling, because I feel like that's gonna lead us somewhere we shouldn't be. Lo and behold, he ended up actually like committing the crime that he was already framed for, with killing people that were supposed to be on his side, that weren't rebels, that he wasn't ordered to go after, and that putting him, you know, exactly in the same position, except now there's justification, right? The people who were going to be on his side and be like, I know that you wouldn't have done this, I know that you were framed, are now like, no, you're not framed, so now I have to like stand for justice, and like you decided to be an executioner when you didn't have the right to do that. It was really fascinating to see that shift in the way that like the more that Koga journeyed away from like the heart of who he was, the core of who he was, the more like distance we got with Muramasa, who was like a representation of that kind of core of who he is, to the point where we got that like the sound shifting out because Koga wasn't even acknowledging Muramasa anymore, right? Every time Muramasa was like, hey, is this actually what we're supposed to be doing? We had a goal originally. Why are we doing this? And Koga was just so focused on like, why would they think that? What do they think of me? Why would they say those things about me? I bet they think this. He was so absorbed in what other people were like thinking, like his perceptions of what they were thinking or saying, that he wasn't listening to Muramasa anymore. And then it became like they literally could not communicate, and seeing that as like a betrayal from Muramasa's side, but like getting the reveal of, I literally couldn't hear you. Like I was waiting for you to call for me. I waited for so long, I didn't know what was happening. And I was just like left. And from Muramasa's perspective, that would have also been like a kind of betrayal, to just be like left and not communicated with for like a significant amount of time before he figured out what was actually going on. So seeing like the two sides of that, and Muramasa being like, oh, obviously I have to rescue him, obviously I have to reconnect, right? And then having from like Koga's perspective be like, hey, you didn't show up for me. And we had all of the setup of like betrayals mean he takes people out who he sees as betraying him. So really interested in like the way that like all added together, and what we're going to get with Byakuya in the next one. I'm assuming that's why Byakuya seems to have known a little bit about what was going on, even though it was a secret, because it's connected with his family. And Koga seems to be someone who very much sees reputation and like acknowledgement, and seeing someone who has we had the little thing at the end explaining that the hair pieces and everything, but someone who not only has one of those but has significant standing in his family, this family that like Koga has a history with, that it's gonna be interesting to see how that dynamic works. And again, a stoic character is a bit of a foil for Koga, and like his temper and his need to like have personal justice or grudge or even like acknowledgement. Even before, when he was like doing good, right, he wanted like it to be like he was great, and not that the whole soul society was, or the family that he was associated with and everything. Like he wanted the praise to be on him specifically. So seeing that in contrast to like Byakuya, who's just the family and the name and like the reputation, and justice being something like outside of my own personal feelings, is something that we've already seen from Byakuya throughout the series. So it's going to be very interesting to see that kind of mashup between those two, and see how that all comes together. I don't know. We're gonna have to wrap all this up at some point, but I hope you enjoyed watching that along with me. You can click this place to go into my previous reactions, or you can subscribe for the next time I post a Bleach reaction. I will see you in the next video. Bye.